the minimum that you need to start transatlantic service is a Boeing 747. Okay, a couple of $100 million, right? And Branson got Virgin Atlantic off the ground with no money. So what he did is he calls directory assistants in the United States, 555-1212, in Seattle, 206-555-1212, asks for the number for Boeing. Okay, gets the number for Boeing, calls the main switchboard and says, I'd like to lease a 747 that you guys might have hanging around that you're not using. They hang up on him.
Right.
Okay, he keeps calling them. And finally the lady at the switchboard says, let me transfer you to someone who can get rid of you properly, right? So she transfers him to someone who's head of like commercial sales. And so this guy tells him, listen, Mr. Branson, in every country we have one customer and you are not the customer. In the UK, it's British Airways. And so therefore there's nothing to talk about. So Richard tells him, listen, I agree with you, that's fine, but just humor me for a second. Do you have an old Boeing 747 lying around that you're not using? And he says, yeah, actually we do. And if one of your customers, like the one in the UK called you, like British Airways called you, and they wanted that plane, what would you lease it for? So he says, well, I really don't need to have this conversation, but we would lease it for about $200,000 a month. Okay, $200,000 or $300,000 a month. And Branson was able to convince Boeing to lease him that 747 because he was sitting and doing nothing.
Right.
Then when he set up Virgin Atlantic, he said, you get paid for all the future flights in advance because people buy tickets. So the plane's going to fly in April. People already bought tickets in February.
Right.
So you say, I got cash coming in 2 months, 3 months before the plane's going to fly. And I'm going to pay for the fuel 30 days after that plane lands. Okay. So he had negative working capital and the lease payment is also in arrears, right?
Right.
So basically he was able to get Virgin Atlantic off the ground with zero equity, right? Now, the way I look at it is that if you can start an airline with no money, you can start any business with no money.
Right.
Okay? You just have to replace capital with creative thinking.